This is a fairly big job for one person. I told them about how long it would take me and they were fine with that. They said they just wanted a quality job. So the new owners just closed on this yesterday and they're getting some flooring done and painting. I'm painting the walls, not the baseboards, except where the flooring is being replaced. I recommended that the flooring guy come in first because sometimes flooring guys bump the walls, or sometimes they don't bump the walls actually. Plus he's got to put down quarter round and I need to caulk that and get that painted. His schedule, he can't start for about 5 days. So I said, I'll come right in, I'll get things prepped and start painting in areas where he's not going to be. And then I'll leave. He only needs about 4 or 5 days here. He can do his thing. Then I'll come back, get the new quarter round caulked up and painted and finish those rooms. So I'm going to start with the prep. I got a few hundred cover plates to take off, a few towel bars. There's some wall anchors, nails and screws and stuff, but in this room here, they used that poster putty. So it's got that oily ring around these. I got to get that scraped off. That oily ring will just start to come through new wall paint. So I'm going to get some oil-based primer on there, just spray it with a can and get those sealed up. Also have a new toy. I'm going to try out this 14-inch roller by Purdy. Standard is 9. I use those almost all the time. And then they also have the 18-inch version. Gets a lot of paint on the wall. Sometimes it skips a little bit in the middle. I'm going to get started prepping here. Actually, though I'm not painting the baseboards, I'm going to caulk them because nothing's been done to them for a long time. That way I can get a nice straight line with the wall paint on top of the baseboards. Got it all prepped, ready for paint. Like I said, I'm going to try out this new 14-inch roller by Purdy, see how that does. I need to get a lot of paint on these walls, so I'm going to use this 3.5-inch brush by Worcester. This is a big boy brush, not for rookies. You got to work up to this. We're going to use Behr paint using the Marquee line. I haven't used this in a while, but I do remember the last time I used it, it covered really well. So I'm going to start cutting and rolling. I got as much done as I can until flooring guy gets here and does his thing. Here's the flooring. It's been in here a few days acclimating to the atmosphere of the house as they recommend. Flooring guy got hung up a little bit. He had some setbacks, I guess, on the job that he was on. So my schedule allowed me to press on here. I got a lot done. And I did paint the walls of the rooms that he's going to be taking out the carpeting and installing the flooring. But I got to come back because here's the quarter round he's going to install. I'm going to have to caulk that up, fill the nail holes, paint the quarter round and the baseboards just in those areas. So I'm going to get my pile of stuff out of here into the truck, and I'll be gone for a few days, but on video it'll be like a few seconds. So stick around, I'll be right back. I'm back. I left on a Thursday. I'm back the following Thursday. Flooring guy did his thing, and I know you're wondering, he didn't bump any of the walls, did he? Well, only in the areas that he worked and some of the areas where he didn't work. So yeah, there's smudges at the bottoms of the walls. In this room, this won't show up on video, but shoulder height, you can clearly see somebody was leaning against a newly painted wall with their grubby work hands. I'm seeing butt joints on some of the longer runs of the quarter round, seeing nails that weren't countersunk. Sometimes those get by people, I get it, but I know they saw two of these. Why? Because they had caulking over them to try and hide them instead of just getting a nail set and a hammer like I just did and countersink them. I try not to be picky, but I see stuff like that, and it takes me longer to do my job. And sometimes it can make my work not look as good as it could because of what they've done underneath. Enough ranting. I got plenty of nails to set, holes to fill, and caulking to do. I got the quarter round all prepped and ready for paint. I am going to use Benjamin Moore Regal Select White Semi-Gloss, and I'm going to apply it with this 3-inch angled sash brush by Wooster. I got the quarter round and baseboards painted, about ready to get out of here. I got to get my pile back in the truck again. Some thoughts on this job. Marquee paint by Behr. Covered really good. It's not really easy to use. That paint is thick. And like I said, these walls had the original builder's flat paint on there. And man, with flat paint, your brush just drags on there. A lot more dipping. You have to be very deliberate about it. Make sure it covers everything. Even when I rolled it, I made sure I went over everything about 3 times while I was rolling the application. It turned out good. Customer loves it. That's the most important thing. Thoughts on the 14-inch roller by Purdy? Right here. Thumbs up on that. A few pros and cons. It covers well. You know, it's bigger than the 9-inch roller by 5 inches. That's general math. It's easier to clean than the 18-inch roller. That big one's hard to clean. Covered good. And one of the best things about it is because it has the handle here, if you get in a tight spot, you can pop the pole out of it and work it in wherever you need to, and then get the pole back in there. With the 18-inch roller, it just has that little nub where the pole goes in. And if you try to take the pole out and just use that with your hand, you're going to end up dropping it. It's probably going to go onto a surface you weren't paid to paint, like their floor. And then if you're like me, you're going to say some bad words really loud. Yeah, I'm all for the 14-inch roller. The only drawback is, it doesn't fit into a 5-gallon bucket, when you want to dip it into the paint. So you do have to use the big rectangular bucket. You got to have room for that. This place was empty, of course, so I did have room to use that. So I'll be using that more in the future when I have jobs like this. Hey, if you got questions, concerns, leave them down below. Thank you so much for subscribing. Best of luck to you on your paint project. See you at the next job.